Hello and thank you for watching my 248 tutorial. In the previous lecture I have started to assemble the layout that we will see on our screen. So far I have created a panel and this text that says 2048. Right now it is just called text in the hierarchy. Generally it is a good practice to rename our game objects accordingly so that we don't have 1,000 different objects that are all called text. So I'll go to hierarchy, click on this text object and I will rename it, for example, to title text. That's better. And I will create other text components that we have in our scene. So I will go to panel, right click, and I'll create another UI text. I would like to create this text that is right below the 248 that says join the tiles. I will zoom in a little bit. Join the numbers and get to the 248 tile. So I will go to the inspector and I will type this text, join the numbers and get to the 248 tile, exclamation mark. Everything seems to be right. Now I would like to enable best fit, and on our sample screenshot this text is really small. So I would like the minimum size to be also really small. I will select 3 and I will drag this text right below our 248 title, zoom out a little bit, and grabbing this corner I will resize it and make it even smaller. I think this will do. Next I'll create the text in the bottom of our screen, so I can rename this text into tip text. So it is a tip what to do in our game. Actually there is another way of creating new UI elements. If we already have a similar UI element, I can just select it in hierarchy and hit Ctrl D. This will duplicate and create a copy of this game object. So when I press Ctrl D, another text appears, but right now it sits in the same spot as our previous text. So I will go to our game and I will drag this text to the lower part of our screen and zoom out a little bit, and this text in the bottom of our screen has to be bigger and it has to say how to play in capitals. So there we have it. I have just typed this long text that says how to play, use swipe to move the tiles. When two, I have a typo here. When two tiles with the same number touch, they merge into one. So it's looking pretty similar, and I'm going to rename this text so we can distinguish it from other text components that we have in our scene. I will call it lower text so that we know that it's in the bottom of our scene. And the next thing that I would like to create is I'd like to create this new game button. So I will again select our panel in the hierarchy because we want the button to be a child of our panel, and I will right click, go to UI and create a button. You can see that the button appeared, but right now it's too big, so I'd like to resize it and place it appropriately. And we have to be really attentive not to drag this dot in the center of our UI elements, because this is the pivot point and dragging the pivot point might result in unexpected behavior later. So I will just drag it without moving its pivot point. And we want to have our button right beside our text. I think this location will do fine. And one thing that we'd like to change is I'd like it to say new game instead of button. And this text right now isn't set to best fit, so I will set it to best fit and also make the minimum size to 3. And I think I will need to resize this text a little bit to make our button a bit bigger, because we gotta have new game in one line. I will also select the button and go to its image color, and I will pick this color that we have in our sample screenshot. And the last thing, I'll go to the source image and I will change it from UI sprite to none, so that we just have this brown rectangle. And I also forgot to change the text's color. I'll just go to color and change it to white. Alright, let's see how it looks. Well, it's pretty acceptable. Another thing that we can do to improve the visual part is I can go to this text and resize it a little bit so that it sits a little further from the borders. Well, this didn't work, so I can also make the button itself a bit bigger, like this. Next, I'd like to add these score and high score HUDs, so I will go to Panel, right click and create UI image. This image is too big, so I will resize it and place it where our HUDs have to be. We will now create a score HUD that says score, and we will pick a color for this image from our sample screenshot. And I will rename it and call it score HUD. Then I will right click and create a UI text. We will actually have these two texts. So one text will just say score, so it will be like a title. Another text will hold the actual number. So I'll enable best fit on this text, make it say score in capitals, score. I will make it aligned in the center. You can see that we have these settings in paragraph alignment, so I can make it aligned in the center both horizontally and vertically. And I would also like to change its color to white. Alright, let's call it score title, and I will duplicate this text by pressing Ctrl D and drag it to the lower part of our HUD, and I call this one score number, and let's make it say some random number like the one that we have in our scene. It will be 1380. So right now, not to make any extra work, I will just select my score HUD. I will collapse its child game objects, and I will right click and I can hit duplicate, or I can just press Ctrl D. This time I'll make it through the context menu, so I'll hit duplicate, and we have a copy of our score HUD. Right now we can drag it aside of our score HUD. I will drag the button a bit lower, and the second score HUD, let's rename it to high score HUD. So I'll erase this one, and in the beginning I will type high, and also I'll change this title to say high score instead of just score. And we can see that the minimum size of the font is too big, so I will make it 3 so that all the text fits in our rectangle. And I will do the same for this score HUD that we have created previously, so I'll have minimum size changed to 3. Looks better this way. And the last thing that I will do in this video is I will create a placeholder for our game field. So I'll go to Panel and right click, go to UI and hit Create Image. Right now this image is white and I can barely see this, so I will go to Color Picker and I will pick this color from our game field, and I will resize this image. So as you can see, it already starts to look a bit familiar. We might play with the settings here and there, but overall I'm pretty satisfied with the results of our work. I would also rename this image to game field, because in the future this game object will hold our game field. In the next video we'll take a break from assembling the UI and talk about text a little bit, how we can add some custom styling to our text with rich text and HTML tags. So thank you for watching and see you in the next video.